Okay, so now the sun comes out. I'm not starting this video again. Hi guys, April here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my October TBR. I have a stack of things. If you saw the thumbnail, you know that I have a stack of things that I want to cover this month. So let's just jump into it. And I'm going to start with Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. This is my favorite autumnal read. I think I read it almost every year around this time. And it's about two young boys, James Nightshade and William Halloway. And they are at that age where boys are just about to turn into young men. And James is all about that. He is sick of being a kid and he wants to be an adult like tomorrow, because he's tired of adults telling him what he can and cannot do. Will, on the other hand, is pretty content with taking each day as it comes. He's not racing to the future and he's not holding on to the past. He's pretty well-rounded. But as different as they are best friends and they are enjoying their fall break, and a mysterious carnival comes to town. It is Cougar and Dark's Pandemonium Shadow Show, I think that's what it's called, and it has all of the carnival fare, rides, games, shows like the Bearded Lady and a contortionist and a witch. Keep an eye out for that one. And the proprietor of this carnival is named Mr. Dark, and he offers something just a little bit extra. So I would call it wish fulfillment. Those people who may have romanticized the misspent youth or are longing for their faded beauty, he offers them a taste of the good old days, but at a cost. Well, James and William stumble upon Mr. Dark's nefarious plan and they kind of team up and try to stop him. What I love about this book is basically my current milieu is character development. I love how James and Will are presented in this book. I think they represent a wonderful age in a person's life and that struggle that we have from leaping from childhood to adulthood. I also love Will's relationship with his father. His father is a much older man who is struggling with his own past choices and whether or not it was selfish of him to even start a family at such an advanced age. I like Mr. Dark. He's quite sinister. And all around, I love Bradbury's writing in this. This is one of my favorite stories of his, if not my favorite, because this takes place in a small town in Illinois. I'm from Illinois, so he captures the environment and the mood and the beauty of autumn, and he writes it so beautifully in here that it's just like a little touch of home. I love that about this. Other than that, I think it's just a nice kind of spooky story. It's not too deep. It's not very scary, but it does have its more sinister elements. And I think it's great for this time of the year. Usually after I finish reading this, I watch the Disney film that is inspired by this. And it stars, I believe, Jason Robart plays the father, who's also a librarian. And Jonathan Pierce plays Mr. Dark. And there is a very, very young Pam Grier who plays the witch. I think this might have been her very first movie. I'm not 100% certain. I think it has introducing Pam Grier in it. So this might have been her very, very first movie. But yeah, the movie's great. It's a little different from the book, but I think they both hold up very well. And yeah, if there is one thing I will probably read this month, it is going to be this. And next up, I have The Bloody Chamber and Other Adult Tales by Angela Carter. This is a collection of short stories that are inspired by older fairy and folk tales. I used to read this book a lot when I was younger, and over the years, where some of the stories don't really resonate with me, two still do, and that is The Bloody Chamber, which is about a young woman who has recently been married and she travels to her new husband's house to live, and he promises her the world, that he will give her anything and everything she ever desires, all the love and companionship that she could ever want. The only thing he ever asks of her is to never go into one room. You know she do. And let's just say what she finds in there she doesn't expect, and she don't even know what to make of it. Number two, the second story in here is called In the Company of Wolves, and it's basically a play on the Red Riding Hood theme, and it's a kind of a coming of age or a sexual awakening of a young girl when she runs across a werewolf in the woods on the way to her grandmother's house. Both of those stories still pretty much grab my attention, and I really like them. The other stories, they kind of play off of what, like Puss in Boots and Beauty and the Beast. I don't really like them as much as I used to, so I probably won't read those, but I will be reading The Bloody Chamber and In the Company of Wolves, so that's why I have this in my selection for this month. So I was watching Ashley over at Bookish Realm, and she was telling everyone that she's reading Stephen King in order of publication, and I'm doing that as well. And I am reading The Shining now. This is Stephen King's third published book, and yeah, I don't know if I really need to go through a lot about this book because it's pretty iconic. Either the book is or the Stanley Kubrick film. Even though if you've only seen the movie, it's about a third of what happens in this book. He left a lot out, a lot. Mostly a real explanation about what The Shining actually is. They give you a little brief detail of what it is in the book, but actually it's more of a supernatural ability that kind of, they call it The Shining because it kind of radiates off of a person who has it. In any case, for those of you who may not know a lot about this story, it's about a family who goes to the Overlook Hotel during the off season to be groundskeepers. And unfortunately, the hotel is haunted with angry entities. During the course of their stay, the family is subjected to some horrific and terrifying scenes and experiences, and it pretty much culminates in a significant tragedy. This is one of my favorite Stephen King stories. Carrie is still my number one, but The Shining is definitely up there in the top 5. It's just well written, and he gives a lot of details, and he doesn't pull his punches when it comes to the experiences the family has. I love this book. I am happy to get to it eventually because I'm going to break pattern and then read Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining, right after this. Well, not this month, but probably in November. And lastly, for the novels, I have An Unkindness of Magicians. I don't know if it can see. It got really bright in here. I love this book cover. This is written by Kate Howard, but isn't that beautiful? Yes, it's written by Kate Howard. I've been stalking this book on Book Outlet for a little bit because it just looks so cute and it has the word magicians on it, so I know magic is involved, and that's one of my favorite genres. But outside of that, I don't know a whole lot about it. But the blurb says, the unseen world of wealthy and literally powerful magicians in New York City prides itself on remaining invisible. Every 2 years, vying for power and standing during the turning, the heads of magical houses elect a champion, a family member or a magician for hire, and begin a series of duels. But the turning has come early, after only 13 years, and Ian Merlin, the heir to the most powerful house in the unseen world, has been elected to become the champion of his father's chief rival, House Prospero. Enter Sydney, an unknown magician from a candidate house, an outsider easily dismissed among the established wealth and power of the unseen world. Acclaimed author Kat Howard has written a magical revenge thriller set amid the private world of New York City's most influential citizens who feed off one another in a hidden game of magical dominance. What the unseen world will soon learn is that Sydney is a formidable duelist with powers that hasn't been seen in decades, and she has a score to settle. So, it's a thriller. It's a bit of a mystery. There's revenge, possibly a touch of romance because they always put it in here. It's right up my alley. Neil Gaiman says, remarkable writer. We'll give it a go. How can you go wrong with magic? Wait a minute. I know better than that. But yeah, this sounds great. So this is where we start the comic book section. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's not too much. Let's get started. First up, I have Brendan Hay and Nate Watson's Scream Queen. This is from Boom Studios. I bought this on cover art alone. It looks very campy. So far I've been watching old Jamie Lee Curtis movies like Prom Night and Halloween, of course. And it just put me in the mood of something really campy and ridiculous like this. And I mean, Jamie Lee's the Scream Queen, so boom. But this book says, meet Righty. He's just your average everyday teen psycho who lives in the mall's crawl space. Meet Molly. She's the sweet, popular high schooler who just happens to work at the mall's food court. When Righty falls for Molly, she finds that all the things making her life so hard are suddenly and violently going away. You see, Righty will kill to be with Molly. Literally. Ah, the awkwardness of teen romance. Okay, so it sounds campy. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds like a 70s teen horror flick. And I'm in the mood for it. So I couldn't pass it up. And it feels very Boom-like because they do like to recreate things that have been in the movies or popular TV shows. So I think I'll get a kick out of it. I really do. I don't think I've ever read anything by Brendan Hay or Nate Watson, so this will be my intro to them. Fingers crossed. Next, I gotta have me some Batman. I was gonna read The Longest Halloween, but I've read that already, and I thought, you know, I have Hush. I've had this for a while, and I've never read it. So it's by Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, and Scott Williams. It's a Batman detective story. I think the antagonist is either named Hush, is a person, or it's an organization, but it's, I guess, playing on Bruce's past and bringing some of his older villains back into his life where he'll have to deal with people all in the while to kind of undermine, I don't know, is it Batman or Bruce Wayne, or does the entity know that he's both? I'm not certain. But in either case, Jeff Loeb is a great writer, and so is Jim Lee. You know, I'm all about Batman. Oh, look. So yeah, and the artwork looks amazing. Oh my gosh, that looks great. I do not know why I have not read this before. And of course there's a little romance on the back. I don't know why I haven't read this before. I've had this for, like I said, a while, but I'm going to try to get to it this month. So, Batman Hush. And next up, I have something from Marvel. It is Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur. Another cover buy for me. I just thought it was adorable. Again, I don't know what this is about. I believe the little girl's name is Lunella Lafayette, and she is an inhuman preteen genius who wants to change the world. I do not know how dinosaurs play into that, but I'm assuming I will find out. The art looks pretty decent. And the dinosaur doesn't seem to be a figment of her imagination, so I guess I can take this pretty much on face value. But yeah, this looks so cute and I just couldn't pass it up. So Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur. See, I read some Marvel. The next two are basically me continuing on series that I've talked about before, and that is The Wicked and the Divine, number 4. You knew it was coming. And Saga number 9, I am not ready. I am not ready. I am not ready. I thought I was going to pick this up immediately and start reading it when I purchased it, but I just couldn't because it's the last one we're going to get for a while. Maybe for trade readers like myself, it may be a year before I get my hands on another book or volume 10 because they're taking a break for most or half of 2019. So they won't start publishing again the single issues until like the middle or late 2019. So I may not get another trade until maybe the beginning of 2020. Oh, I can't. That's the horror. There's the horror in this story, that I won't get the next one until possibly 2020. Oh my gosh. But yes, Saga number 9 is out. Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples. Oh, and I didn't mention, but Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey do Wicked and the Divine. And if you've seen my other comic reviews, you know I'm in love with this story. So next I have something from, I believe, the COO of Image Comics, and that is Robert Kirkman, and this is Outcast. I was turned on to this story by a television show of the same name. I think Robert Kirkman was the showrunner on it, and I think it was inspired by this series. I don't know what channel it was on, either Stars or Showtime or something like that. And I didn't get to see the entire first season, and I don't know if it was like a limited series or if it ever came out with a second season. It just kind of disappeared. So I don't know what happened to it, but I was really interested in the story. It was about a guy named Kyle Barnes, and he was dealing with people in his town who seemed to be possessed, and he was able to kind of lay his hands on folks, and the demon, quote unquote, would kind of express from the person in a very violent way. Sometimes the people who he saved didn't survive the actual, I guess you would call it, exorcism. But where there seemed to be a religious element to the story, I don't think there actually was. I'm not certain that the people who were the possessions or the entities that were possessing people were of a religious tilt. I think they were like, I don't want to call them spirits because that also sounds religious, but I think there are maybe beings who share our world with us, who may be in another form but want to take a more corporal form, so they possess humans. I'm hypothesizing there. Like I said, I didn't get to see the entire show, but that's what I gleaned from it, and I really wanted to find out more about it. So when I saw that it was a complete series, or I think it is still in production. You know, Robert Kirkman don't stop nothing. So I don't think he's ever going to end any of his current works. But yeah, since I saw it was out, I'm not sure how far behind I am in the tale, but I thought I'd pick it up. So yeah. And for the artwork, it's pretty moody and dark, and I must say that the story from the television show kind of looked like it wasn't going to end well for either Kyle Barnes or the world at large. So let's hope that the book offers maybe a tad bit more optimism. Doubt it though. Next up is one I've technically already read, and that is Clean Room. It is written, oh, can you see it? It is written by Gail Simone, and the art, I believe, is John David Hunt and Quentin Winter. I don't know what I thought this was going to be about. I think I thought it was going to be about a troll on Scientology, because it's about a woman who is the head of an organization called the Honest World Foundation, and she used to be a horror fiction writer, and she decided to make the world a better place by becoming this self-help guru, and now she and her quote-unquote acolytes run Hollywood. And unfortunately, a reporter's fiance became a member of this organization, and then one night went home and blew his head off. And so the reporter is kind of pissed. She blames the founder of the organization, and she is going to infiltrate it and try to, I guess, tear it down from within. When she goes in, what she finds is not what anybody expected, including myself. Like I said, I didn't know where this was going, but boy, what I can say is I like the writing. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was bold and fresh, and really affronting. I mean, some of the imagery in here is just, it is repulsive, but you can't really look away because you're just trying to figure it all out. Your brain is honestly trying to saran wrap itself around this story, because it is the puzzle that you must figure out. That's what I'll say about it. I am very compelled with the story. Let me see if I can show some stuff in here that isn't. Yes, so this isn't a reveal, but it gives you a sense of what the artwork is like. But yeah, this was really freaky. Like that. Just, can you see it? Oh, the light. I'm telling you, when I want sun, I don't get sun. When I don't need that much sun, I get nothing but sun. But yeah, Clean Room is definitely one I want to continue to read, and I was lucky because I was able to order the rest of the volumes online. But yeah, next up is a book that everyone has read except for me, and that is Monstrous by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. What it says on the back is, it is set in an alternate world of Art Deco beauty and steampunk horror. Monstrous tells an epic story of Makia Halfwolf, a teenage survivor of a cataclysmic war between humans and their hated enemies, the Arcanics. In the face of oppression and terrible danger, Makia is both hunter and hunted, searching for answers about her mysterious past, as those who seek to use her remain just one step behind. All the while, the monster within begins to awaken. Again, I'm not 100% certain what this story is about, but one, Neil Gaiman gave it a great blurb on the front and the back, and two, the artwork on this thing is stunning. It is just beautifully done. Such beautiful artwork. I think, well, I'm hoping for a great story here, but I think the artwork alone is going to be captivating because it's just gorgeous. Oh, look at that. Is that not gorgeous? Can you see it? The wolf there. Just gorgeous. Just well drawn and beautifully colored. Just really nice. Nothing beats a really beautifully drawn book. So, yeah, I'm very interested. Everybody has had a review about this book last year. It was like the book of the year. And unfortunately, you know, money was tight and I couldn't get a copy. But lo and behold, this showed up in my used bookstore and I was like, I have to have it. So I'm so happy to have it and I can get on the bandwagon with everybody else. Let's just hope I like the story. And next, we have something from Scott Snyder, and that is Witches. Stephen King likes it. On the back it says, when the Rook family moves to the remote town of Litchfield, New Hampshire to escape a haunting trauma, they are hopeful about starting over. But something evil is waiting for them in the woods just beyond town, watching from the trees, ancient and hungry. Ooh. What I think I know about this story is that unlike my normal fare where witches tend to be the protagonist, I think they are the antagonists in this one. So I will get some demonic witchy powers in here where they're just terrorizing some poor family. The artwork is loud and beautifully colored and kind of very, a little surreal, like dreamlike. I think that's done intentionally. Very dreamlike. So, yeah. Scott Snyder, I think Jock is the artist. Again, I've heard good things about this story. I think it's several years old though, so it's probably out of favor now. Well, a little bit. But I'm gonna see what it's about. I like magic, I like witches, even when they're bad. And next, I have The Black Monday Murders. I believe this is written by Jonathan Hickman. Yes, Jonathan Hickman. Art by Tom Coker, Michael Garland, and letters by Russ Wooten. There's not a lot about this book on the cover. No back blurbs or anything. But the title is called All Hail My Mom. What I think I know of this story is that it's called crypto noir. So it's a bit of a dark mystery. And I know it deals with the occult and the financial market. I think people are using occult powers or praying to possible occult deities in order to influence the market so they either become richer or something, or their businesses become more prolific. I guess that means you are richer at the same time too, but you get my point. So it's a mystery that involves that. I believe there's a detective involved trying to track this down because maybe some sacrifice is necessary in order to show deference to the gods. What I like about it is that I did really think the artwork was intriguing. I don't know like that. And what I also liked was that you seem to get involved on a very nuanced way with the investigation because they give you a few pages of these redacted details that I just think is really nice. It kind of puts you into the mystery yourself. A little bit of an investigation. Like, look at that. That's cool. That's neat. And it's a thick book. This is only volume 1, so it's not even a standalone graphic novel. But you get a lot of story out of this. It looks like it's going to be a nice mystery. And I'm here for it because some people are just really rich for no reason, right? And last, I have Midnight Nation by J. Michael Straczynski, and the art is by Gary Frank of Doomsday Clock fame. Well, he's famous for more, but he's what I talked about him most. And this is about when homicide detective David Gray's soul is stolen by a mysterious supernatural entity known only as the Other Guy. He falls through the cracks in the world to a place in between, a shadow world populated by the lost, the uncared for, and the thrown away. To confront the entity and reclaim his soul, he must travel on foot from Los Angeles to New York, accompanied by Laurel, a beautiful, enigmatic woman who may be far more than she appears to be. Together they run a gauntlet of those determined to stop them, and along the way discover wonder, terror, beauty, danger, and unexpected love. I picked this up purely for the name J. Michael Straczynski. Oh, and Gary Frank, of course. Them working together is probably right up my alley. I love Gary Frank's artwork. I think he does a fantastic job. Show some of it there. And in regards to Straczynski, as I've mentioned before, I think he does a very good job in building with character development and building up the emotional life of his characters. It really does add a nice layer of color to all of his stories when you have all of that emotional baggage or emotional subtext to his characters, because you can really kind of feel where they're coming from in regards to their actions and the potential of things to come. So yeah, again, another nice dark mystery here, a little touch of the supernatural, and some great art. Oh, and by the way, I found this at the youth store, and it is signed by Mr. Zasinski. So that's it, guys. These are my selections for my October TBR. What do you think? Are you reading anything from my selection? Or have you read anything? Please leave it in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts. If you have a TBR that you're going to be reading for the spooky season, let me know what is on your TBR, because I'd be interested to know. If you have videos, please feel free to link those below too, because I'd like to watch other people's TBR videos to see what they're reading. Even though I've started reading some of these things, let's see how many I can get through between now and the 31st. Let's bet. I say, especially since I'm not reading the entire Bloody Chamber and I'm only reading 2 stories out of there, I say I can get through all of the novels, and I say I'm gonna be able to read all of them. How about that? How about that? I say I can get through all of them. But you tell me how many you think I can get through. And so that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because your support is always appreciated. I am going to try to do more videos this month before my work starts to go crazy again. Yeah. Okay. Bye.